Good morning, brothers and sisters. Have you shouted for joy yet? We know God loves us. We know God delights in us as well. He delights in us to the extent that He has to dwell in our hearts. We know God delights in us, and He is joyous because of us. That's why we can rejoice for Him. And the most treasurable is that God's heart is towards us. God even gives us the task where He can complete His will with Him, and that is the church, to build His glorious household, the house of God. It's really precious. Do you know? The Lord has the mission and commission. He has gloriously accomplished Abba's love dream from all ages and generations. Abba and the Lord commit us as well that we can partake in completing this household, the church after His heart. I thought of my conversions when I was 17. I felt so grateful that I could be in this powerful movement. I give thanks to the Lord that He has kept me all these years, that I didn't lose in this movement. I'm still with the brothers and sisters. My heart is still fervent to give my best to the Lord. I give thanks to the Lord that He has His glorious will and commission among us. It is worthy for us to shout for joy because of all these blessings. We are closely connected with the will of Abba and the Lord. As long as we are willing, we can partake in His glorious will. He likes to send us to the world to bear witness for Him. Brothers and sisters, our values in life are not the same anymore. The fishermen in the past became the apostles who were the first generation to affect the world. You see, Peter, John, they have shaken the first century. They were only the fishermen, but they gained man and became the foundation of the first century. How precious we're in the finishing time. We are welcoming the Lord's coming. I hope every one of us undertakes the commission to glorify the name of the Lord and to accomplish His will. I'd like to sing a hymn with you in Songs of Love too, Song 3. Take up the task. It's a very precious hymn.
The moonlight shines on this sleeping land, awaken thousand souls. God's great love vast as the boundless ocean. Deep in you, deep in me, the same we feel. His love perfect and true. Let us grow together with our songs and of the winter, wines giving fragrance, voice of turtle doves has been heard. Let us rise and say goodbye to all fancies, pride, and signs, to the promised land, fairest resting place. Let us strive. Why stayed in dreams of passing splendors? Soon they all disappear. Oh, my dear, don't look back and keep signing. Bear in mind Jesus Christ's precious calling. Pursue with all your strength. Come along, come along. Take the toss upon your shoulders. Keep our faith in Him. Let all hardships be turned to power. Come along, come along. Take the toss upon your shoulders. With our hearts steadfast, let's strive for His will together. Come along, come along.
I hope you have time to be still and respond to Him. or you can sing another hymn to worship the Lord. Let's have some time to draw near to the Lord face to face. You can stop the recording and we'll read the Bible when you're done. May the Lord bless you. Brothers and sisters, we'll read in 1 Samuel chapter 22, verse 1 to verse 23. David therefore departed from there and escaped to Adullam's cave. When his brothers and all his father's house heard it, they went down there to him. Everyone who was in distress, everyone who was in debt, and everyone who was discontent gathered themselves to him, and he became captain over them. There were with him about 400 men. David went from there to Mizpah of Moab, and he said to the king of Moab, "Please let my father and my mother come out to you, until I know what God will do for me." He brought them before the king of Moab, and they lived with him all the time that David was in the stronghold. The prophet Gad said to David, "Don't stay in the stronghold. Depart and go into the land of Judah." Then David departed and came into the forest of Heroth. Saul heard that David was discovered with the men who were with him. Now Saul was sitting in Gibeah, under the tamarisk tree in Ramah, with his spear in his hand, and all his servants were standing around him. Saul said to his servants who stood around him, "Hear now, you Benjaminites, will the son of Jesse give every one of you fields and vineyards? Will he make you all captains of thousands and captains of hundreds? Is that why all of you have conspired against me? And there is no one who discloses to me when my son makes a treaty with the son of Jesse? And there is none of you who is sorry for me, or discloses to me that my son has stirred up my servant against me, to lie in wait, as it is today?" Then Doeg the Edomite, who stood by the servants of Saul, answered and said, "I saw the son of Jesse coming to Nob, to Ahimelech, the son of Ahitub. He inquired of the Lord for him, gave him food, and gave him the sword of Goliath the Philistine." Then the king sent to call Ahimelech the priest, the son of Ahitub, and all his father's house, the priests who were in Nob, and they all came to the king. Saul said, "Hear now, you son of Ahitub." He answered, "Here I am, my lord." Saul said to him, "Why have you conspired against me, you and the son of Jesse, in that you have given him bread and a sword, and have inquired of God for him, that you should rise against me, to lie in wait, as it is today?" Then Ahimelech answered the king and said, "Whose amongst all your servants is so faithful as David, who is the king's son-in-law, captain of your bodyguard, and honored in your house? Have I today begun to inquire of God for him? Be it far from me. Don't let the king impute anything to his servant, nor to all the house of my father, for your servant knew nothing of all these, less or more." The king said, "You shall surely die, Ahimelech, you and all your father's house." The king said to the guard who stood about him, "Turn and kill the priests of the Lord, because their hand also is with David, and because they knew that he fled and didn't disclose it to me." But the servants of the king wouldn't put out their hand to fall on the priests of the Lord. The king said to Doeg, "Turn and attack the priests." Doeg the Edomites turned, and he attacked the priests, and he killed on that day 85 people who wore a linen ephod. He struck Nob, the city of the priests, with the edge of the sword, both men and women, children and nursing babies, and cattle, donkeys, and sheep, with the edge of the sword. One of the sons of Ahimelech, the son of Ahitub, named Abiathar, escaped and fled after David. Abiathar told David that Saul had slain the Lord's priest. David said to Abiathar, "I knew on that day, when Doeg the Edomite was there, that he would surely tell Saul." I'm responsible for the death of all the peasants of your father's house. Stay with me. Don't be afraid, for he who seeks my life seeks your life. You will be safe with me." As we can see, Saul sought to kill David through chapter 19 and 20, and David began to flee. David escaped to a city called Nob, a city of priests, in chapter 21. He went to Ahimelech, and after receiving the assistance of Ahimelech, continued his escape. He was pursued to the extent that he sent his parents to the king of Moab in order to ensure their safety. Rather, it was better than his parents and brothers being caught by Saul. As you can imagine how miserable the situation of David was at that time. He had to beg for food, and his friends who helped him were exterminated. For instance, Ahimelech, the priest of Nob, gave him food and a sword, yet it was the reason for all the priests of Nob was killed. And the Bible mentioned, Saul sought David every day. David was utterly destitute at that time. I can say there was no way out for him. No one dared to help him. There was a man mentioned, Doeg the Edomite, from verse 11 to verse 23 of this chapter. When David went to Nob, Doeg was present, and he witnessed Ahimelech gave David a helping hand. Most likely, he exaggerated the matter before Saul, which led Saul to believe Ahimelech was conspiring with David to kill him. As we see Saul in verse 6 to verse 8, using threats and bribes to inquire whereabouts was David, claiming someone conspired against him, his spear in his hand. But what did he say? Would the son of Jesse give you fields and vineyards? Would he make you all captains of thousands and captains of hundreds? He used this method to inquire whereabouts David was. Obviously, the servants of Saul stood around him were not very happy with him. I guess no one dared to speak out at that time. Even if someone knew David's tracks, no one would reveal it. In the meantime, Doeg the Edomite, a Gentile, snitched to Saul. Perhaps he wanted to obtain fields, vineyards, or even a commander of hundreds or thousands. Then Saul sent to summon Ahimelech and all his father's house at once. All the priests who were at Nob came. There were about 85 of them. This chapter reveals 2 points. Firstly, Ahimelech had no idea that Saul intended to kill David. How could he have conspired with David against Saul? Secondly, we also see the courage of Ahimelech as he defended David. He said that it was the usual practice of David to seek the will of God. He even praised him. Verse 14 mentions, Then Ahimelech answered the king and said, Who amongst all your servants is so faithful as David? This statement has shown Ahimelech's disagreement with Saul on killing David, though it didn't state clearly. In fact, he rebuked King Saul in behind. He should not have sought to kill the one who was his son-in-law, captain over his bodyguard, and honored in his house. Then Saul was furious and said Ahimelech and all his father's house deserved to die. He immediately told the guard who stood about him to kill Ahimelech and the priests at present. Yet no one dared to take action. Verse 17 says, But the servants of the king wouldn't put out their hand to fall on the priests of the Lord. Once again, this has proved Saul was unpopular with the people. Sadly, it was his despicable Gentile, Doeg the Edomite, who ultimately struck the priests of God. And that's not all. Doeg the Edomite wanted to do the extermination. He went to the city of Nob and killed both men and women, children and nursing babies, and cattle, donkeys and sheep. But thankfully, Abiathar, the son of Ahimelech, who escaped and went to David, told him the news. I believe David was deeply grieved when he knew about it. He even wrote a psalm, Psalm 52 in recording this incident. I believe he returned to God in deep sorrow and seeking for God's comfort. It is precious that God also revealed to him that Doeg the Edomite would be judged and punished by God. I meditate on David as a man who was very close to God. You see how he brought every matter, great or small, before the Lord, even writing psalms to commemorate what had happened. In fact, I also like to encourage everyone. Let us learn from David to connect what happens to us with God. You can express your gratitude, your pain, your doubts to him. In short, you can share anything in writing as a poem or song. God is very pleased for us to live a God-centered life, bringing our problems, difficulties, or grace and love we encounter back to him. We know God makes all things work together for our good. He arranges all things for our greatest benefit. Therefore, it is his purpose and his goodwill for the things that have happened upon us. If there are things you truly don't understand and feel not happy with, then you shall come before God and ask for the reason. If you do understand, then come to him and express your gratitude and joy. In short, all things can be connected to God. You can put any matter into a poem or put anything into a song. Brothers and sisters, I hope you have many expressions to God. May you sing new songs and write new poems to the Lord day to day. Lastly, I'd like to share with you verse 1 to verse 6. It was about David's escape to Adullam's cave. Adullam's cave was quite interesting. I can say David was the end of his rope, yet Adullam's cave was a new beginning for him. David's glorious team of 400 appeared. You can't estimate while David was the most desperate. There were 400 men joined his faction. Surely it was remarkable. This man didn't join David during his rise of power and influence. Instead, they decided to follow him when he was at his lowest point, being chased and rejected. Why? First of all, the Bible tells us these men were in distress, in debts, and in discontent. Generally, such people were being despised by others, or even by themselves. Perhaps they had once wanted to join Saul's army. However, they were rejected, spurned, and despised. Yet, I think the main reason was that these people knew God was with David. Moreover, David behaved wisely, and his reputation was well known. Now that David had fallen on hard times, they could be deeply related to him. They were in the same boat as David. They understood David, and David understood them as well. When they sought refuge with David, he could comfort them deeply. What David endured was more difficult, more unreasonable, and more unjust than what an ordinary faced. Since David had suffered, he could comfort those who were in distress, in death, and bitter in soul. Another possibility was that some of them knew that God had commanded Samuel to anoint David as king to replace Saul. Hence, these people had faith in the word of God. Even while David was in trouble, they still believed David would become king of Israel sooner or later. They earnestly desired David to be their king. Perhaps some of them also wanted to have a part in David's achievements and to partake in them. Therefore, they sought refuge with David. There was a saying that those who joined David fell into 3 groups. This group was the first. There's 400 men recorded in 1 Samuel chapter 22. The second group that joined David was the group recorded in 1 Chronicles chapter 12. They were the tribes of Gad, Benjamin, and Judah. And finally, the third group included the warriors from the remaining tribes of Israel who joined David when he was king in Hebron. Of course, there were also individuals who defected to David during this period. All 3 groups who joined David were valuable, Yet the first group deserves special commendation, for they did not join David when he was in power, but during his most desperate and difficult period. Personally, I believe their faith was the greatest, for they paid the highest price. Some were even willing to risk their lives for David, and some warriors even became his close friends. Brothers and sisters, do you understand what I mean? I want to express my gratitude through these followers of David. I feel grateful to be able to follow the Lord and fight side by side with him in this age. I'm willing to pay the highest price if needed, for I was once in distress, in death, and discontent. It is the Lord who saved us. It is the Lord who comforted our hearts, and we became good soldiers of Christ Jesus. It's very precious for us to follow the Lord, to be with him, and to fight with him on all sides, to build God's kingdom. Truly, I'm very grateful and moved to have this privilege. Brothers and sisters, this battle is coming to an end. The Lord will lead us to victory. He is finishing his church, drawing a perfect conclusion to this age, placing the capstone upon the temple. Brothers and sisters, not only we are the Lord's valiant warriors, but we shall be his beloved as well, his close friends in this age, to understand his heart and satisfy his heart most, just like the warriors and close friends with David. Brothers and sisters, though the Lord has not yet come to reign, we know that surely he will reign one day. We have a part in gaining the kingdom for the Lord on earth. What a precious and glorious thing! In the days before the Lord's coming, we might be mocked for following him, or it is ignorant or foolish to follow him. But we shall not be afraid. The Lord will comfort our hearts. He has endured all things and gained the victory. We can trust in him fully and rely on him. We will surely share in his victory and glory in the end. That's all for my sharing. It's your personal time to draw near to the Lord, which is the most precious. May the Lord bless you.